Hey guys, it's Kevin again, this right here for the Vampire Diaries, Season 6, Episode 18, I Could Never Love Like That, and I was definitely looking forward to this episode for a couple of reasons. One, I'm sure you guys know that Nina Dobrev is leaving the show after this season. I'm gonna say right now, guys, there should not be another season after this season, really. I mean, it's never worked before. They've tried it on so many shows and it's never worked. This happened, like, with that 70s show. This happened with a lot of, sitcoms. It's never really happened on, like, a big drama, though. And it's happening on this, and it's not working. It doesn't work whatsoever, and, I understand they're trying to set up, like, Elena's whole thing and everything, but this episode I thought was just okay. I really thought this episode was just okay. I didn't love this episode. I thought this was a good episode. But to be honest, guys, I really only cared about Stefan and Caroline. I didn't care about really what was going on with Elena and Damon. I mean, I'll talk about it, but I just didn't care as much about it. But I still thought this was a good episode. I still enjoyed it, but I'm kind of starting to lose interest in the show, and honestly, I can understand why Nia Dober launched Sleep, because honestly, guys, it's time. It really is. The show is starting to get very bland and kind of boring and not as interesting, and I mean, I will say one thing about this episode that I love, but let's just get into the episode because it was still a good episode. So so basically we start with this guy. He's shutting down a bar for the night, and he hears a noise and sees his buddy Chris is on the floor. And basically, Stefan's booing Caroline. Honestly, guys, I could watch a show just around these two. I could. If they want to do anything with the show, just get everyone off the show and put Stefan and Caroline on. Because I could watch these two for, just the whole... I could watch a show around just these two because it's so funny. And she says she scared him, but he's not impressed. And she gives Stefan a taste of Chris and then he tells the guy that Caroline bet him that she could scare him to death, but she says she tried a cliche with a dead drop, and Caroline compels the guy to have a heart attack, and Stefan says that's cheating, and Caroline tells him he can't breathe, and the guy actually collapses. Then she compels him to think that there are spiders everywhere, and he dies out of fear. And I thought this was kind of funny, because basically they're going back and forth over it. Just the fact they're going back and forth about a guy having a heart attack I thought was really funny. And Caroline says that she won, and Stefan says he died of a loophole, but she says a win is a win. He says she wins, so he'll do karaoke with her, and I thought that was a lot of fun. So Enzo takes Sarah to the Salvatore house to hand her off, but Lillian answers, and Enzo says he's at the wrong house, and he grabs Sarah and leaves, and he tells Sarah he met that woman in 1903, and she's the one who turned him into a vampire, which I thought was really interesting that we found this out with Enzo. I definitely thought that was interesting that we saw that. So Elena tells Damon she smells bacon, and he says it may be a baby she abducted from a nearby village, and she says he needs to give... Now, I was interested in seeing how they were going to handle Elena and Damon. First of all, because Elena's leaving, I was interested in how they were going to set that up, but also the whole thing with the cure. I was interested in seeing how they were going to show that. And I gotta be honest, guys, I'm not really into the whole Lillian story. I don't think it's that interesting. I don't really think they have anything interesting to do with her. And maybe it's just because the way they're handling Esther and, Dahlia on the originals, they handled that so well. I just don't really like the way they're handling it here. I don't think they're handling it as well. And especially when the most interesting thing is Stefan and Caroline, I don't understand why we need to really add a villain into this. I really don't see it, the point of it. So Damon says Lillian is only a tool to get Stefan's humanity back, and that's it, which is true. That's what they want to do. They want to get Stefan's humanity back. And basically, Damon acts weird when she goes to get a t-shirt out of a drawer. He closed the drawer, and what's in it is backup. And basically, Lillian has made them breakfast and says it was Damon's favorite, and she asks Elena how long she's been a vampire and if she misses being human, and I thought that was a good line overall. Basically, Lillian says they need a magical device, and Damon says the ascendant is safe, and Lillian says there's a meteor shower coming in 2 weeks that should act as the needed celestial event. Now, when she said that, I'm like, meteor shower. That means death, okay? Elena's gonna die. I'm calling it now. Elena's not gonna leave the show and then come back in season 7. No, that's not gonna happen. If they do anything, they're killing her off. I know they're gonna kill her off. I mean, there were plans to... They never planned that she was gonna die. They never planned that she was gonna, anything. But now that she's leaving, I think they're gonna kill her off. I don't see her staying on the show after this season. I see her dead. I do, in that meteor shower. That's what I think is gonna happen. Definitely, I think that she is going to die. And also because currently the season finale has no plot. See? It doesn't have a plot. It's because they're rewriting the finale because, of course, Nina's leaving, so they have to sort of rewrite the finale, and they have more stuff to do. So I'm interested in seeing what they actually end up doing there, but we'll see. So basically, Elena gets a text from Jo saying people are wreaking havoc on campus, and she leaves. And Enzo tells Sarah he was taking her to her family and explains that Damon was bad and is now good, but killed her parents, and Stefan was good and protecting her, but is now bad. And, Sarah's completely confused, which is understandable. And he says Lillian is the worst person he's ever met. We see a human Enzo, and I thought this was really interesting. I like seeing this. I liked everything this episode besides Elena and Damon. I didn't really care about Elena and Damon's plot, to be honest. I really didn't. So we see a human Enzo trying to get onto a ship, but they won't let him on, even with his ticket, because he's sick. And a woman offers her hand, and it's Lillian, and she says he needs a doctor. She says she can help him get well, and with his ticket, he takes her hand, and now he tells Sarah that he thought he was getting help, but by the time the ship landed in New York, everyone on the boat was dead. So Enzo then tries to compel Sarah to forget him and the Salvatores, but it doesn't work. And basically, she says Matt stopped by to see her and gave her some vervain, and then she is already, turning into a vampire. So she plunges a syringe into Enzo, takes him down, and Caroline's then singing at the bar, and I love seeing Caroline. That was a lot of fun to watch, seeing Caroline sing in the bar. One of the students complains that they're trying to study, and she calls for the manager, and Stefan says he can help, and Matt and Tyler get to the bar, find that Stefan has compelled everyone to listen and was bleeding the complaining girl. So Matt asks what the hell is he doing, and Stefan says he's enjoying the music and asks if they want next song, and Stefan blocks him from the door and says to stay. Caroline's taking requests, and Damon drives at breakneck speed, and his mom is getting nauseous. He hands her his phone, tells her to text Elaine and tell her they're on the way. She starts to type an old school letter, and he says 3 words, and Damon says her job is to stare Stefan in the eye and turn him back. That's basically what she needs to do. Because, again, what is the greatest power? The greatest power is a mother's love. So Lillian asks if she should end the text with I love you, and he says okay. Lillian says he must be afraid he'll ruin their love if he gives her the cure, and she says she heard he and Bonnie talking, and she says the cure for vampirism is very rare, and I like they discussed this, because I thought this was really well done. He says he doesn't even know if Elena wants it. She says she's scared she might and would take it and leave him, and Elena goes to the hospital. Basically, I thought that was a really good scene, and I mean, that is true. I'm pretty sure Damon's just scared that Elena's going to end up leaving him because he won't be a vampire anymore, and she won't really need to be with him. Because, I mean, the reason that she started falling in love with him after she turned into a vampire. That's when Elena started falling in love with him. And that kind of just made her realize, now he's kind of worried that because she won't be a vampire anymore, that she'll try to, that she won't want anything to do with him, which I think is really sad. But I do like that overall. So Elena goes to the hospital to help Jo by handing out vampire blood to the injured. She tells Jo about Damon's mom, and she says Kai is also in the 90203 prison, and Jo is shocked when Elena tells her that her brother is gone for good, and Elena realizes that she's pregnant, and Jo says this baby does not need a psycho uncle. And I thought that was interesting when we found this out. Elena's excited for Alaric, and for her and Alaric, and I talked about how much I love Alaric and Jo. I think they're really good together. And Enzo wakes to find Sarah truced him up, and he says she made a mistake. She says her mistake was ever trusting Enzo. He says he remembers being naive and thinks back to Lillian having the doctor diagnose him. He says he can cure Enzo, but it's expensive, and she compels the doctor, and he reveals it's only lavender and oil, and he saved no one. He says Enzo will be dead in a week, and she orders him to leave, and Enzo says she should go as well, but he doesn't infect her. She says she already had consumption. He asks how she survived. She says she didn't. He asks if she's an angel, and Caroline then sings on and finishes. Matt says they're listened and clapped and basically and asks if they can go now. And Caroline says they're going to play Caroline trivia, and she asks them questions about her. And whoever answers them right gets to live. And basically, she asks Tyler when is her birthday, and he gets it right. Then she asks Matt her favorite color. He gets it right, too. Caroline says the next one's a speed round, asks her mom's final memories before she died, and they're both like, well, how are we going to know that? And Stefan remembers because she told him, and he says basically he wipes off blood, and he talks about, that her final memory was Caroline riding a new bike, and again, it really, I mean, even though they are both, like, really dark and have no humanity right now, it shows how much he does care about her. It definitely shows that. And Caroline says Stefan wins, so they get to both kill Matt and Tyler. And Stefan smiles, and then Elena tells Jo when she had her humanity off, she was just as bad, and she's capable of this too. And Jo tells her she won't ever be like that because she'll be a small-town doctor. And Elena says it won't work because people will notice she's not aging. And Jo says she can tell that Elena's envious about the baby and asks if she talked to Damon about it. And Elena says they can't change it, so there's no point in dwelling. And I mean, there really is nothing that Jo should be worried about. Her and Alaric are getting married. I'm sure Alaric will be fine with it, and I think it's going to be fine with them. I don't see it going badly. I don't see this being like a wedding that's going to end up badly. I see this being a good wedding. Enzo tells her that she was ripped from the womb of a dead woman, and Stefan compelled her to forget to her past, and basically, Elena... basically Enzo says she can't appreciate death until she stood at the edge, and he thinks back to dying, and Lillian humming him a lullaby, and he asks why she's caring for him, and he tells her he was abandoned at a workhouse at 4, and has never known kindness, and Lillian says she was sent to a sanitarium to rot and die, abandoned by her husband because he wanted to be done with her, and she says when she was let go from a life that she didn't want her, she found her true family. She says they're traveling with her, she says they're outcasts like them, and she tells Enzo he can join them and never be alone again. He coughs blood and wheezes. He says the end is coming, and she says it can be a beginning. Lillian cuts her hand, tips the blood into a glass. She tells him to drink it, and basically that's how he turned to a vampire. So I thought that was well done, but I just didn't really care. I've talked about how I don't really care about Enzo's character. I like the storyline. I like the interaction he has with Sarah. I just don't really care much about Enzo's character. So as effective as this was, sorry, I didn't really care. So Lily and Damon are on campus looking for Stefan. Damon gets a text from Elena and says that they are at school bar, and she asks what if Stefan doesn't remember her, and he says she will, and she worries she'll say the wrong thing, and he tells her to channel the feelings when she came back to them in 1903. She looks confused, and Damon says she wasn't coming to get them, and she tells him she's sorry, but she wasn't. He tells her she can do it and says to try. Lillian says she's been trying since she laid eyes on him, and she said try to remember mourning her and Stefan after she was cut off from them, and basically she says once she turned, she was scared of what she would do to them, and I thought this was really good. I mean, she's really doing what Damon wanted her to do, and basically, she says her new family helped her do that, but then her feelings for he and Stefan were gone. She says she hates that she can't make herself feel more. She tells Damon she's sorry, and she goes to walk away, and I can understand why she's so upset. I mean, she really wanted to be there for them, and I do like Lillian's character. I do. I didn't really see the point of her, but I like her character. I do have to say that. I think it's good what they're doing with her, and I like that she's just not another villain. So Caroline flips a coin and says head. She kills Tyler, kills Matt, and basically Stefan said it's a plan. Tyler slaps the coin out of his hand, says this is why everyone hates vampires, and Tyler then stands up and Stefan and Matt says to stop or Stefan will kill him. Tyler bashes a chair into his stake, holds it out. Stefan says he knows what a jerk Caroline was when they were dating, so she can kill him. And Tyler goes to stab Caroline, but she yanks Matt in front of her, and he stabs him in the gut instead, and she mocks him. And Damon then calls Elena and fills Elena in on his mom rejecting him, and he says he wasn't planning on letting her friends free, so it's no biggie. She says it's okay to feel hurt. He says to help him come up with a plan B, and Elena says Stefan doesn't know and wonders if his mom is a good liar, and Lillian goes to leave, but Damon tells her that she's going to walk over to that bar and give the performance of a lifetime if she wants her dissected family back. Because, I mean, the plan, of course, is for her to get through to Stefan and basically, you know, somehow get Stefan to not be this way anymore. That's really what they need to do. So basically, I thought that was a really good scene. Lillian asks Damon if he will save her family, even if she fails, and he asks her to trust him. She says he won't tell the love of his life he has a cure for her and wants her to trust, and he hands her the ascendant, and Enzo tells Sarah that he woke up a vampire with the insatiable craving for blood. He saw bodies everywhere, and the doctor comes in and says the woman who helped him killed them all and told him to come feed him. So the compelled doctor slits his throat. Enzo digs in for his first meal, and Enzo sees he searched the ship for Lillian, but she was gone. All of her promises of a new life were lies, and he says it probably was some sick game, and I thought that was a really good twist. I really like that, because now we see why Enzo wants nothing to do with her, because she abandoned him. She told him she would give him this great life, and then she just turns her back on him. I really love seeing that. Not only did she turn her back on Stefan and Damon, but she turned her back on Enzo. So maybe now that she's back, she's going to try to do that. But it just seems like Enzo doesn't want to bond with her and wants nothing to do with her. And basically, he says he wanted to do to her what had been done to him to make her a monster. He springs up and ties her up. Tyler tries to save Matt, and Caroline asks if Matt dies, will Tyler start peeing on fire hydrants again? And Damon and Lillian show up as Tyler is telling them to shut up. And Stefan is completely shocked. He had no idea he was going to see his mother. And Caroline asks who it is, and Stefan says it's his mother. And my only thing here is that I wish this would have been the end of the episode. I wish this was how the episode ended, with Stefan running into his mother. I feel like this episode just been set up, and then Stefan meets his mother, because this episode just got way too convoluted after this. The first half, I was like, okay, I'm really enjoying this, but then the second half of the episode, towards like the middle part, it got very convoluted, and I suddenly lost interest. So Damon tells Tyler to get Matt out of there and toss him his car keys. Stefan says his mom died, so this is a lame attempt by Damon to get his humanity back on. And this whole scene, I just felt like this should have been the first scene of next week's episode. And Caroline puts a stake in Stefan's back and runs off since she doesn't want her humanity back on. And she tells Stefan thanks for the head start and runs. And I love that Caroline doesn't want her humanity back. I think it's, again, I've said before, she's a badass. She's awesome. I love Caroline this way. And Tyler gets Matt to the ER and tells Elena what happened, and Lillian then puts the stake out of Stefan's back, and he looks at her. She tells him she's a ripper and says it's her fault for his lack of control. She says that's why she had to leave. She says this was new to the bloodlust and was afraid she would hurt them. She says the last time she saw them was the day of her funeral. She says he didn't imagine that she was his angel, and we see Damon telling her what to say before they got to the bar. She tells him she wishes she could have been there to protect him. She says she got her appetite under control and was coming back to them, and she was banished to the prison world by the Gemini, and she says the hope of seeing them again was all that kept her alive. And she says they have all eternity to try and repair this, and she touches Stefan's face, and she tells him she'll never leave him again, and she's his angel. His humanity comes back, and he hugs her, and yay, his humanity is back. I'm kind of upset about that. Hang on a second, guys. I'm going to turn on a light, because it's really dark in here. I was kind of upset that they did that. I was, because here's the thing. As much as I like seeing Stefan's humanity and, him being a really good person, I love seeing him work with Caroline. I love seeing their, little thing that they were doing. I thought it was a lot of fun to watch, and I was kind of upset that it's coming to an end. I really was upset about that. And I understand that's not a huge complaint, but just, I don't know, I didn't like it as much after that. I didn't like the episode as much. I was like, okay, I was enjoying it, and then after that, I'm like, I'm not really enjoying this as much now. I feel like they could have done that at next week's episode. This episode should have been set up to what is coming. This was the premiere back from a hiatus. You shouldn't have all this stuff in one episode. I understand that Elena's leaving, but it just got really convoluted, and I fear this is what the rest of the season is going to be, is that things are just going to be rapid fire, just all this stuff happens in one episode, and it's just too much. You can't have all this stuff happen in one episode, and it was kind of just, it really bothered me after. I was like, I don't know if I really like this now. I didn't really like it, so basically, Damon then watches. He's pretty satisfied because it's going as planned, and Damon tells Stefan he has one night to do his shame spirals, then he has to go after Caroline. Stefan says he doesn't need a night and can find her, and Damon is encouraged, and I know Caroline eventually had to get her humanity back. I was just hoping that we'd start this next week, because we have 4 episodes left, and I think if they would have introduced this last week and made this, like, last week's plot, I think that could have been more interesting. I just feel like this scene should have been the first scene of next week's episode, and then it would have made things like, it would have hooked me right away. It would have been like, okay, this episode's going to be awesome. But no, it's the end of this episode, and it just did not work, really. So Elena asks Matt why he is refusing her blood, and he says he died so many times, or nearly died, and most of the hands of people he thought were his friends, and it's true, Matt does die a lot. And she says he says she's one flick of a switch away from being a monster. She says he has every right to be mad, but asks her to let her make it better. Matt says he can't. Vampires, they use them to his advantage, and he says he can't have it both ways. He says it has to be that way, and yanks his hand away from her. And Enzo then nicks Sarah's finger to make sure the vervain's gone, asks if she likes Southampton for him to send her when he takes her memories, and she asks for the choice he never had and says he'll never look for the Salvatores. He tells her to have a nice day, and basically, I just didn't really care. I'm sorry, I don't care about Enzo and Sarah. I don't give 2 shits about them. I don't care what happens to them. I like the whole thing with Lillian and Enzo, but I don't care about the relationship. I really don't. So Damon tells Elena that Stefan is fixed and is after Caroline. He puts his mom in an Uber, and Elena says she wants to throw Jo a baby shower. She says she didn't react well and wants to make it up to her. He asks if she's jealous, and she says it's a reminder of something she can never have. She can never have a child, and she says she's also wanted a lifetime with him, so she'll be okay. She says she just needs to be by herself, be sad for a minute, and he asks what if things could be different, but she says they're not, and they can't be changed, and he tells her that he loves her, and gets a text from Jo. And the sad thing about this, I mean, Delaney scenes are very crucial now, because we're not going to get many of them anymore, and I mean, we're going to get more and more of them as the season goes on, but these are going to be our last few Delaney scenes, and I think they're being handled very well, and Especially because, as I said before, Ian Somerhalder and Nina Dobrev absolutely despise each other in real life. They don't want nothing to do with each other in real life. So, I really like this. She says her dad wants the ascendant. Damon says he gave it to Lillian, and Jo says he has to get it back now. We see Lillian with it, and Jo tells him that his mother turned some bad witches that are vampires, witch hybrids that siphon magic like Kai did. She says they are ruthless and an aberration of nature and can never be allowed to escape. She says, imagine Kai with the bloodlust of a vampire, then imagine 6 of them, and that's how the episode ends. So, I understand what they're saying up here, but I just didn't really care as much as I wanted to. I thought this was a good episode, but I do have some complaints. The whole thing with Stefan being turned back into a vampire, being back to his regular self, I feel like I should have had more reaction to it. I had no reaction. I didn't have a reaction to that, because I just didn't, I was like, really? That's when you do this? I mean, I feel like they could have just done this, like, at the end of, in the beginning of next week's episode. It would have been a lot better if they did that, and I was upset that they didn't do that. Damon and Elena, I like the way they're handling it. Damon needs to tell about the cure, though. He needs to do whatever he can to tell about that cure, and we need to make sure that happens. I'm also sad to see the Stefan and Caroline whole dynamic, and I love seeing them as, no humanity vampires, not giving a shit about things. It was a lot of fun, and I like seeing Caroline do that as well. I mean, definitely she's going to try to kill Tyler now, but Stefan's going after him. Interested in seeing what's going to happen there. Lillian, it seems like, can't be trusted. It seems like something bad's going to happen with Lillian. I don't really know what's going to happen with Kai. I don't totally understand what they mean by what they're saying about Kai. I don't totally understand it. And it's probably just because I'm not really as into this show anymore. Enzo, as I said, I don't really give a shit what's going on with Enzo. I don't care about Matt's storyline either. There's so many things that are going on that I just don't care about. I don't care about Matt's storyline. I don't care about Enzo's story. I care about Jo and Alaric. I like that. I like their little, baby shower and wedding that's happening, but I just don't really care as much about things that I should care about, and it's kind of disappointing, but you know what? That's what the show's doing. But overall, guys, that's my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm gonna tell you guys this. I didn't hate this episode. I didn't hate it, but I think just because I know that Nina Dobrev is leaving, I'm starting to not care as much because I just don't see the point in continuing this show. I mean, when your main star of your show makes the announcement to leave, that should be a clue that, yeah, we should end the show. That's what they should be doing. They shouldn't be just having another season after this. It's not going to work. It's going to be shit. I'm probably not even going to watch it. I'm going to tell you guys this. I'm probably not going to watch the Vampire Diaries after this season because I'm already bored. Okay, I'm already bored by it. As I said, the only things I truly cared about were Stefan and Caroline. That's what I love seeing. I love seeing them, be in this position. It was really cool to see. I care about that. I care about everything that's going on with, I care about what goes on with Stefan until it actually happened. I didn't really care anymore. But without Elena, I don't see the show working. I really don't. And the dynamic doesn't work. I don't think that all the characters are interesting. And I'm just not as into the show anymore. But let me know what you guys think of the show. Are you going to continue to watch after Nina Dobrev leaves? I don't really know. But I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for Daredevil, which I cannot wait for. And I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.